Hello and welcome to All For United. Me, John Foster, MUFC. Joined by a full house tonight. We welcome back Yehuda, all the way from Israel. How are you keeping, mate?
Great. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Amber, good to see you back, mate. How are you? Oh, someone's audio. I'm not too sure what's going on. Natalie, you okay, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, John. Good to be back on.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. Well, we'll go through some positives and some negatives throughout the show, of course. Matt, how are you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, not too bad. Just what's the word? Recovering from yesterday, if I can say that. But no, all good, mate. Yeah, all good.
Good stuff. And Ben, how you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm all well, pal. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. And it's funny you should say that because at the end of the show, well, the second part of the show, we're going to discuss a little bit about how we're doing as fans. We talk about the players feeling pressure. We as fans, we feel pressure as well. You know, we spend a lot of our time emotionally attached to our players and to our team. So I think it's only right that we talk a little bit about how we feel. So obviously we could talk about the players in this and everything else, but I do think it's important that every now and again that we just discuss what we think as well. So yeah, we'll make a start on the match reaction. So let's start off with yourself, Yehuda. So last time you was on the show, mate, it was 18th of December, and Tobin Heath just won Player of the Month. Yehuda, just describe United's journey since December. How do you feel it's gone?
Well, obviously, it didn't went how we thought at the time. You know, we felt on top of the world. Excuse me?
It's okay.
Yeah. We felt, on top of the world. We felt that we are making real progress. The title was in reach, and all was good. I don't believe that at that point we had any major injuries. Maybe just Alessia. So all was looking great. And then I think something happened after the Chelsea game, which is a little bit strange because we didn't play bad that game. We lost. We lost to title rivals at the time. But maybe that defeat did something to the confidence. For me, it looks like it's mainly, apart from the injury, it's mainly looks like a confidence issue. Because definitely, for sure, the players that we got can play, even with all the injuries that we had. The players that we have available are definitely capable to play better. And yes, results haven't gone away. Even yesterday, I at least didn't came to the game feeling too confident. Like we were in December, that every game you thought, yeah, we're gonna be at it. We're gonna be sharp. We're gonna be focused. So something happened. It's hard really to pinpoint what, apart from the injuries, what was the issue there. But I think it's just a normal part of the process of the evolution of this team. We want it to be a smooth process, that we will go straight to the top, but it's not all lost, and we still have a lot of positive things to take from this time. And yes, at the end of the day, results wasn't good, but we still had a few good moments, and now we have to hope for some miracle to get third place, which at the moment it's hard to believe that it can happen. But maybe Arsenal also do a bad time of their own. Who knows?
Let's hope. So yeah, just to summarise that then. So you basically think it's down to the injuries and maybe player mentality, and I think a lot of people probably agree with that. It could be some other things as well. Nat, let's move on.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I recognize some fatigue. Maybe it's more mental fatigue, but also physically. Maybe, after we started losing one game or two, physically and mentally, the legs got heavy, and maybe it's got to them, but they will come out of this for sure.
Yeah. Go on, Nat. Do you want to add on that and then kind of give a bit of a brief outline of the game itself?
I agree. We've sort of just spiraled in a way. It sounds really horrible, doesn't it? But it's sort of like we've just lost our heads. We've not known how to play. We're playing such expansive football. When Tobin and Leah and Leslie were there, and now it's just we don't know whether we're coming or going. I mean, I think like I said, touching the game, I think it was just it's lethargic. It's not fast. It's not exciting. It's not people were saying taking risks. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing just a team that's sort of set up, and it's sort of. I mean, this has happened before. Just before we played Everton last season, we came against Reading and Brighton again away, and it just looked like we had no like plan B, sort of fight, determination. And then Leah came back and we played versus Everton, and it was sort of looked like the same old team. So I think, yes, any team would miss all their top quality players. You take Kirby, Harder out, and where would Chelsea be? They wouldn't. Yeah, they've got Beth England, but then even if you take her out, because it's like that's what we're down to. The very, very bare bones, and what would they do then? So yeah, you can look at injuries, but at the same time, I don't want to see it as an excuse. The gaffer's not saying an excuse. She's saying, it's not an excuse. Yes, where we could have been with Tobin playing the full season, and with Leslie, where she would have been probably in double figures for goals and all that kind of thing, but it's not good enough at the end of the day. And a team that went out on paper was good enough to beat that Brighton team, but they just looked not clinical, devoid of any ideas or whatever. Defunct. I don't even know what the word is, but it looked like as soon as they scored that penalty and then we were attacked, we didn't look like scoring again. And we have these moments where this happens and something needs to be done about it. Because I don't want to sort of lose a player like Leslie or lose a player like Tobin and then that's it, our season's over. It shouldn't be like that. It should be, the next player is good enough to step in. And I do think they are good enough to step in, but it's just, like Yehuda said, the confidence and all that kind of thing. And, I don't know. Something needs to change. And, I think next season, change all this. We wanted it to be a smooth process. It's not. But then next season, there's sort of no excuses. It's sort of, we've got that far now, and like top 3, top 2, whatever is the aim. And like, there's no kind of getting away from it. Like that is where we should be. And if we're not, then yeah. But it makes it clearer. It doesn't put any expectations. If we were made Champions League, then it's like, oh, well, how far are we going to get in the Champions League? That's gone. It's boom, make the Champions League next season. The end. Like, anything less is failure in a way.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. And I've left that comment on screen. It kind of ties in with what you said about we should be able to win without them. And the starting 11 that we put out yesterday should have won. At half time, I went off on one a little bit, saying it's down to the players. This is on the players' heads because the team should have won yesterday. As you say, on paper, player for player, we was the better side before the match kicked off. Obviously, as the game progressed, maybe not. But what I would also do is say, I would come back on that comment and say, but what happens if we did have Heath, Galton, Russo, and Festival available? Then where would we have been this season? That's 4 massive players there out, and it's impacted us a lot. But let's talk a little bit more about the game itself. Matt, let's come to you a little bit. You missed the starting 11 chat yesterday because you was elsewhere, which we'll talk about towards the end of the show. But what was your initial thoughts when you saw that starting 11 with the 3 changes?
Yeah, shocked. And I think obviously we later found out 2 of it was due to injuries, wasn't it? I actually thought that Mr. Smith would have come back in at right back. Obviously, because Amy Turner was bench, wasn't she? And we saw sort of Maria partnered with Millie, which was something I mentioned a few weeks ago. Would we maybe put Maria in at centre half? I mean, again, Amy could go right back for me. You know, it didn't have to be Kirsty Smith, but yeah, it's sort of it's one of them. You know, you've all sort of touched on it where we've got injuries, yes, but we've also got a squad that's capable. And I listened to Lucy Stan's interview, and she was saying, you know, it's not an excuse, sort of player for player. If we compare ours to theirs, you know, ours should be going out there and winning. You know, it's 11 better players. However, if you don't go out and put that into performance, then you're not going to go anywhere. And, you know, you look back yesterday, and obviously we missed a few chances, but we've had 2 shots on target out of 16, which just isn't good enough in terms of conversion rate. You know, we can talk about injuries all day long and defensive mistakes, but at the same time, if your forwards aren't putting away and we're not creating proper goal scoring chances, you know, I think sometimes we may be guilty of overplaying and overworking the ball in the final third. I think for me, just hit it, forget trying to score a perfect goal or something fancy. I think, you know, you've got to, and I say this a lot, we've got to be clinical, and we're not. And I think it was just disjointed, wasn't it? I'm not sure what I put it down to, because again, you know, and I've said it before, I don't like blaming injuries, because, you know, we've got a squad and we've got a decent squad. It's just, I don't know, players not stepping up maybe. Certain players that are coming in possibly aren't good enough, which kind of, you know, it pains me to say that, but it's the truth. You know, I think I tweeted before, didn't I, John, about, you know, an overhaul in summer. I said we need at least a minimum of 5 to come in, and I do believe, you know, I think we've struggled without Alessia. You know, we've struggled for goals, haven't we? Obviously lost Tobin as well. But you look around and you think, you know, who's stepped up in the absence of Tobin and Alessia? No one really, have they? You know, we've been without LJ for long periods of time. Tooney's our top scorer. I think he's on 6. And yeah, it's been a struggle. You know, we highlight our defensive frailties, but for me, we've not really, you know, again, sort of replaced what we've lost, or we've not got the quality, should I say, to replace what we've lost. So it becomes very difficult. And now it's sort of, it's an issue, isn't it? I mean, what we lost now, have we, of our last 9 games, which is very unlike us. 5 in our last 9 games. So again, that just shows, you know, for a club of our size and, you know, the quality players that we do have, it's not really great, is it? If you look at it that way, 5 in 9, and I think prior to that we probably hadn't lost that many in the sort of first 2.5 years. You know, maybe we might have done, but you know, it wasn't as bad, shall we say, as now. So yeah, it was a difficult one yesterday. Yeah,
I want to come to Ben, but I can see a non-alcoholic drink there, Ben. That's not like you. You must be working a bit later. Ben, Casey said after the match that there were chances, and Matt mentioned that we need to be more clinical, and that there were chances. But there's not, in my eyes, I think we had like about 2 chances where we scored. Oh, I think Ben's mic's playing up again. It is buzzing a bit, Ben. I don't know if you've done anything different.
Is it working now?
It's a bit crackly.
Checking.
Yeah, something.
God knows what's wrong with it then. But chances, mate, yeah. We've been saying it all. We've saying it all season, haven't we? You know, clinicalness, it's just not there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, I don't know, mate. We could talk about injuries as well all we want, and yes, it is a valid excuse in the day, but mate, we can't keep playing on it. You know what I mean? The 11 that we put out yesterday were good enough to beat that Brighton side. And players are not taking their opportunities. This should be an opportunity for every single one of that starting 11 to really prove themselves, you know, to really go, I am worthy of being a Manchester United player. I am worthy of being part of the longer-term project, if you like. You know, some of them are playing for their contracts, mate. Let's not forget. Some of them are playing, I think quite a few of them are out of contracts in the summer. Some of them will be playing for their contracts. And at the minute, they're playing like scared rabbits in caught in headlights or whatever the term is, you know. It's just not, I don't know, mate. It's the worrying thing, like I put on Twitter, the worrying thing for me, the most worrying thing for me is I've noticed of the last, since the Chelsea defeat, heads are going down far too easy. Far too easy. You can see in that one goal, heads are straight down. Instead of like heads up, you know, we go again. So it's only 1-0. got plenty of time to come back into this game, plenty of time to get a goal. Heads seem to be dropping far too rapidly for me. There's no leadership on that field either. I look at it and I look, where's the leadership? Where's Katie Zellum buoying everybody up? You're the captain of Manchester United. You know, the least you should be doing is going around and just you know, just tell them to keep the chins up. You know, keep the heads held high. You know, I know it's difficult at the minute. The injuries are not helping. Losing LJ during the game as well definitely doesn't help. But we're not helping ourselves, though, on the field of play. You know, we're not going into games with confidence. We lack a lot of confidence at the minute. And, you know, some of these players are good enough to be WSL players. They're good enough to be Manchester United players. They just need to have a little bit more faith in themselves. You know, I even harped on yesterday probably about the defence too much a little bit. But for me, if we can't defend properly, we don't deserve top three. You know, we've been defending criminally since coming back from the winter break. It's not good enough. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it is since Maria Toro, whatever her name is. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. Since she's come in, it seems to have unsettled the back line. I don't know. Abby McManus wasn't playing, but I'm trying not to read too much into this sort of thing. And I'm not saying that it's an issue, and I'm not trying to make anything out of it. But for me, something's not been right since Maria's come in. Whether it's a team bond thing, I don't know. Somebody will point out and say Abby didn't play a lot of football, which is true. But something in that defence is gone. The mentality looks like it's just not there. They were like a brick wall. You know, before Christmas, nobody get past them. We conceded a couple of goals. Yeah, we conceded, you know, we weren't conceding sloppy goals. We weren't making defensive errors like we were after the winter break. It's just not good enough at the minute, mate. Players are playing scared for some reason. And the problem is when you play scared, playing for Manchester United, you get found out. There is no hiding place. And I've banged on about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. There is no hiding place at Manchester United. They just need to just believe in themselves a little bit more. You know, otherwise, you know, you're not bettering yourselves in a way. You know, we've done superb this season. If somebody said you'd be top of the pops at Christmas, you know, we'd have all bitten everybody's hands off for that. We'd have all chewed it. But for me, the most disappointing thing is how we've actually fallen from grace a little bit. You know, I expected a drop off. I didn't think we'd, you know, I enjoyed our time at top of the league, you know, like everybody else. You know, I wasn't trying to get too ahead of myself. I was just enjoying our time at top of. I knew we'd drop off a little bit, but this is not a drop off, mate. This is a catastrophic slide. And at the minute, yes, we've had a couple of wins in that catastrophic slide, but we're not helping ourselves. And I can't put a finger on where the confidence has gone. Injuries aside, mate, you know, we're Manchester United. Some of them are playing for their lives, their livelihoods, their contracts. You know, where's the pride? At the end of the day, where's the leadership? Where's the fight? I don't mind us losing. Some will go down fighting, but we're not even going down fighting, mate. We're going down with a whimper, and that's a big worry for me.
Yeah. And that, for me, I know obviously we're going to bring Amber in, but for me, I think it's that is it the fact that maybe some of them have been told like, listen, you're not here, or some people are getting contracts, and you're thinking, well, I'm on a year, obviously I'm not getting one. Is it that kind of thing? You know, is it all over? I definitely agree with John Hume about the predictability. It is, but it's been like that for a while, and it's on a bit on Casey, but like, you know, people like the psychologists, it's on. You know, is COVID affecting them? I know we're going to talk about how it's affecting all of us, but, you know, they can't do everything they usually do. I don't know if that's sort of a thing. And I saw a tweet, sorry, John, to step in, that someone had, and you had it up for a while, about the whole review of these injuries. The review's been had. You know, that's probably part of the reason why we're in Carrington now training. She says she's going to bring people back earlier for pre-season, so hopefully see a benefit there. But listen, if you're looking for solutions to the review now, you ain't going to see it straight away this season. It's more probably some benefits that I'll see next season, the season after kind of thing. But there's been answers from the review. Just look how things improve, I suppose, facilities and this and that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Amber, I know you've got a bit of a delay on your audio and mic, but we'll go with it anyway. There's a comment about injuries. So not only LJ, but obviously Ladd and Press as well. How much of a loss? That's 3 players now on top of everybody else who's injured. How much of a loss are those now going into the final 3 games?
They're going to be a huge. Look at the starting lineup we had at the start of the season. Brighton, the 2 completely different teams, 2 completely different mentalities, 2 completely different tactics, and it is ridiculous how many injuries we've had. It kind of reminds me about how when Liverpool men's team a couple of years ago, they had a ridiculous amount of injuries and had to go into their youth setup, and then they had an investigation about it. Hopefully going to Carrington it does calm it down, but I think Press is in just super on. We were playing for the US national team, should be going doctors, some of the best doctors in American sports, and she'll come back fighting fit. But with LJ, with Heath, with Russo, with Galton, that's all our starting attacking players. And we've got no one, and it is affecting. It's affecting the players. Am I going to get injured next? Are they going to get injured next? I know a lot of this when it comes to injury. So whether or not they're thinking, right, I'm not going to be 100% and get injured. We've got the Olympics coming up. This might be my only chance playing at the Olympics. But I think the only players for me that have really turned up in recent weeks is obviously Jackie Groenen and Ona Batye. I don't think any other player has really stepped up besides Old Trafford. Obviously, you have to step up. When Ben is in captain, when Heath was on that pitch, she was screaming, she was shouting. She had them all huddled up when there was a break in play. She was shouting at them. She said, "You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do that." And you don't get that from Katie Zellum. I don't think she's got that captain quality about her. I think because she's Manchester United fan, and she's been there from day, and she came back from Juventus to play for Manchester United because it's her team. But I do think I agree with what Christian says on Twitter. I think Jackie should be our captain for now on, as long as she doesn't get injured. But she is the most passionate, I think, of all the players. She was the one getting them down, doing this, that, and the other. She's on the wing. She's attacking. She should be the captain of Manchester United. Injuries aside, we should be beating teams like Brighton. But don't forget, they did beat Chelsea away from home. 2-1, was it?
Yeah. So
they are a hard team. But I think I said before the game, we can either win 1-0 or we can win 4-0. Go out and battle them, which we did, and then they'll just. We don't really have that attacking quality when LJ is injured, when Heath's injured, when Press is injured, when everybody else is injured, to break down teams that park the bus. We couldn't do it against Reading. We couldn't do it against Arsenal. We can't break teams down. So we need to figure out. Casey needs to figure out how to break those teams down.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make a mental note here of all some of the suggestions that everyone's talking about like the dip in form. Obviously, we mentioned injuries, fatigue, mental fatigue. Obviously, we're talking a bit about leadership now, and Amber's not the only one. There's a lot of people in the comments saying that. Look, as a captain, people are captains in different ways, aren't they? Harry Maguire is a different type of captain to maybe Bruno Fernandes, what he could be. People are captains in different ways, but maybe we do need someone more vocal on the pitch. And we've spoken about this before. You don't need the black band captain's armband around your arm to actually scream orders. But I do really rate Jackie. We see Jackie give team talks. We see Amy Turner, obviously Tobin as well. So maybe that is something that Casey needs to address in the summer. But obviously, as we mentioned before, that's a massive statement. I want to get Yehuda some time as well. We spoke a little bit about the starting 11, and I've seen some comments in the starting 11 saying there was a little bit worried that starting 11 wasn't good enough. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, Yehuda. Was the starting 11 not strong enough, or was the bench not strong enough? Because if the bench was potentially more stronger, then maybe, we could have had some game changers to come on. But to me, I didn't really see anyone who could change the game, unfortunately, yesterday.
No, I think the starting 11 was strong enough. Maybe the bench not so, but we still had good players there. It's not that the players weren't good enough, but they didn't perform to their ability. So, when you have a bad game, you always look at the starting lineup and you say that they're good enough or not good enough. All of them showed they are good enough. All of them showed that they can do a job. But they were just off yesterday. Everyone, no matter the names, no matter anything, it was just an off day. It wasn't that they are not good players. We said that this starting 11 should have win Brighton, should win teams like Brighton. At least play better. We can lose 1-0 when you have 20 shots, you hit the post, you hit the crossbar, anything. But and you still, you can say, okay, we were unlucky. But it was 1-0 that felt like a lot more. And no, it's not because the starting 11 wasn't good enough. It should have been good enough. But on that day, I think that it was almost like the whole team got in the same mood. Like, I don't think it, bless you. I don't think it's matter which other player got in the team. He would, she would got infected in that mood as well. That's how it seems. So I think it's just an overall problem around the team, not necessarily due to what player was on the starting lineup or who was injured or who was on the bench. It was something. It's something bigger than that.
Yeah, Matt. Two simple. Well, one's a simple question and one's a bit more of a thought-provoking kind of question. First one, do you think that we actually deserve to get anything out of the game? And the second one, what do you think Casey needs to do now to lift the spirits of this team? Because we're feeling it as fans and the players are feeling it as well. Definitely pressure. It could be pressure from us. There's a comment in the comments, I think it was Ugly Bear, who says, don't make the pressure of the shirt too heavy like the men's game. But obviously all we are is fans talking about it. And I probably do believe that maybe there is a bit of pressure there, but they should still be able to react to that as professional footballers. But yeah, Matt, I mean, there needs to be some sort of lift as well, doesn't there? So, like I say, just do you think that we deserve to get anything out of the game? And also, where do we go from here? How can Casey raise their spirits?
Yeah, do I think we deserve something on the basis of that performance? I'm going to say no. Some people disagree, and that's fine. I just don't think we showed enough. We didn't show enough overall in the whole game to deserve to take anything, really. I think we need to be a lot better. In terms of your second question about sort of how do we change it and how do we lift it, it's difficult now. Obviously, 3 games left. I think for me, I've harped on a lot about sort of, change the captain and change the way we play and let's get more leaders on the team. But it's difficult now because we're in such a mess that, confidence is absolutely shot. So for these next 3 weeks after the season, regardless of kind of what you try and do, whether you're taking players out, it's not going to make too much of a difference, sadly. It's one of those things now. I think the season's gone. We need to address it in the off season. We need to clear out and we need to start again. I think, like I say, you could literally change the whole 11 if you wanted to. You could put another 11 in and you probably still see, the same struggles. Where do we go? I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because there's so many things that I could sit here and talk forever on. But, there's a lot of people in the comments saying, about leadership and captain and somebody that should be dragging the team through the game. And we've not really got too many of them. That needs addressing in summer. I've seen comments about Hayley Ladd, which again I agree on. Without her, and something else I've talked about, we need to bring in a spare sort of somebody to compete with her. Because we don't know what's happened with her, do we? We don't know whether. I mean, obviously now it's an injury, but in previous weeks we've been crying out for her. She seems to be fine and on the bench. So, yeah, I think it's just resetting the summer for me. I really do. I think now, like I say, you can go and try and do all the tricks in the book in terms of, let's go and do some team bonding or drop this player or let's drop that. But I think now, summer, there's no point now going in, dragging players in to analyse things to try and correct it now because the damage has already been done long ago. Listen, we're on a bad run since January, so it's not like this is a one-off. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, it's difficult to pinpoint it now with it being so late in the season, and there's not, like I said, not too much that we can change other than to, if players come back from injury, put them back in and just go again. I think Nat's going to jump on and add to this now, so I'll pass you over, Nat.
No, I hope you don't mind, John. But for me, I think one sort of thing that happened, it kicked off and everyone got excited, and I think. We're talking about Hayley Ladd isn't there. We're talking about this midfield. Nothing's going to change. Anyway, there's no one really to bring in. But then we think back, back in February, I think it was, Bo Reese was talked about, someone who has a bit of passion, who's not playing now, who apparently is diehard, like us, even more hardcore than some of us for Man United. Was it a mistake not bringing her in? I don't know. I mean, I really rate Carrie Jones, Tara Bourne. It's someone who I really rate. They're sitting on the bench. For me, I think we know what Jane Ross can do. We know, not in a horrible way to her, we know what she can do, right? Why not bring on Carrie? And I get it, Jane's got more experience and this and that, but why not just bring on Carrie? Because we saw when she came on what she was doing, and I feel like some of these kids might. I'm not going to feel bad because I don't want to bring them on when it is in such a downward spiral. You want to bring them on when we're doing all right, when we're winning, but who knows what they can do? Because I feel like we just need that bit more energy. We need a different energy, and for me, I think those kids can bring it. I think anyone who sort of follows the academy, who sort of sees what they're doing term and term. Charlotte Healy's doing a fantastic job. I'm not saying drag her away from the academy, but every time I hear someone talking about coach, it's always her. It's always her. Charlotte, it's so great for your club. I'm not saying, but maybe let her come and sit on the bench during I think she was there at the Old Trafford game. I think she was there at a couple of games. But let her, and I know she would usually be there if she was, non-COVID. I don't know about all the protocols, and this is where I think probably that's not helping us. But we need at least a different idea, someone fresh. And I just think with it going so well with the academy, maybe bring her to come and sit on the bench a few times, get up and shout at the players, a different voice. I don't know. I don't know if she can do that with, like I said, but with everything that's going on, we can bring back, people are coming back, roadmap 2 and all this foolishness. So for me, I think we're going to see it going back to normal eventually, but like Matt says, it's things that need to be addressed in the summer. That like you said, it's not the first time this has happened. Coming back from international, we've done poorly and we've lost players, so it's something that we saw last season, but it was cut short, and now we're seeing it again this season. Even in the Championship, there was times where it wasn't as expansive until it got towards the end, but I think in the Championship you can get away with it. Here, WSL, you can't. And the thing is, it's not about the players being bad or anything like that. Yeah, we will get new players, but it's about if Brighton want it more than you, then Brighton will win. And that's what it was. And people say the weight of the shirt, this and that. Okay, but you should always go into a game wanting to win it. I'm not saying that they didn't, but a team is always going to turn up against Man United. Whether fans are there, whether we're putting the pressure, putting the pressure. People want to beat Man United. You want that on your resume. Oh, when we beat Man United, I scored you want to say that. So you can say, oh, we should all be positive and all this, but you need to be realistic too. People are aiming at us, wanting to beat us the way we've done what we've done. So it's always going to be like that. So for me, I just think like what Matt says, I agree. Let's see what happens next season. But if we can do something now, bring in the devs, bring in Healy, bring something different. Bo Risa, God knows what's happening with that now, but just do something different. And whether even that's just changing it to 3 at the back or, a different kind of tactic. I'm not good at tactics. That's the least of my skills. But, do something like that. Switch it up. Plan B, Plan C. Don't just 4-4-3, 4-4-3. Play a different way. 2 up top, Play Carrie and Jess, something like that. So that way they're with an experienced player.
I think that's a fair comment, and I think I saw a comment kind of saying it before yourself there, Nat, about just do something different, and also, but like I say, is this now an opportunity to play the youngsters? Now, I'm sure one thing that Casey will be holding on to, and one thing that I'm holding on to as well, is to be able to say, well, yes, we finished 4th, but we've closed the gap. I don't think Casey will want to go into these last 3 games and almost throw it away as such. So I don't think she'll do anything reckless, because she needs the points, doesn't she? That's what she's hanging on to now. Of course, we've got the FA Cup to come, which we'll discuss towards the end of the show as well. But let's move the show on. Let's move it on a little bit. I'll come to Ben first on this one. I just want to spend kind of like 15-20 minutes or so talking about us as fans, about what we've gone through. So we've spoken a lot about the team, and we do a show twice a week on YouTube, two times a week on Twitter. And by the way, that brings me into, just don't forget to subscribe to our new YouTube channel later this month when we do actually build it. We've got to have 4 or 5 shows a week on. So please, just I'll keep jogging your memory on that. But we talk about the players in the team all the time. How are we feeling right now? Because we are so engaged into this club, these players. We talk about them, we tweet about them, we talk privately, we talk publicly about them, and it's constantly on our minds. It's draining. We've had ups, we've had downs. Is there kind of almost like a bit of relief there now, that in the sense of we kind of know that we're probably not going to make top 4 now? So are we relieved in some sort of weird way that, okay, the pressure's kind of off our shoulders now, but we know what's going to happen? Or is it, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I'm just trying to think to myself, I do feel deflated. In my opinion, it's nothing to do with lockdown or anything like this, but to me, it's just it's kind of a little bit flat for me now. I'm almost waiting for that FA Cup to come around, which, like I say, we'll talk about in a bit. But Ben, what's your thoughts at the moment? How are you feeling? Not just about that game yesterday and the loss, but as a season.
Mixed bag, really, mate. Mixed bag, mate. Like I said, like I touched upon earlier on, Christmas time, we was all pretty joyous as well. We was all enjoying ourselves. We're top of the pots. Both men's and women's team were both top of the league. It was a good time. I knew myself, like I said earlier on, that it wouldn't have lasted. But I knew we'd drop off a little bit, but I didn't think we'd drop off. Like I said earlier on, drop off this spectacularly, and it's a little bit frustrating more than anything. I think after yesterday's game, I was a little bit annoyed. I was a bit pissed off, man, and everything like that. But it's just that because you just know that the players give it a little bit more. They give it so much more. They have been doing since the winter break. I know, as I said, I touched upon. I know injuries. It is an excuse in itself, but it isn't. You can't keep using injuries as an excuse. These players are good enough. To certainly beat Brighton, and fair play though to Hope Paulo, because I said on mine and Matt's Saturday show that Hope Paulo shouldn't be written off because she's a really, really class coach. You don't manage England for no reason, for the length of time that she did for no reason. She had a game plan and she executed that game plan with perfection. Their players, their bodies on the line. They was into everything. They were doing all the shithousery. They was trying to stop the play. They was trying to get in our faces. And it worked for them, And me, myself, I'm disappointed more than anything, in the performances, the way they've just dropped off an absolute cliff. I'm not raging with anger. I'm not pissed off with them all, but I just know that they give so much more. They could do so much better. And the thing is, though, as well, I think also, which is a big effect, is not having the fans there. I know we've touched upon this on previous shows, and again, someone might say, "Well, that's another excuse, just trying to throw down." But not having that 12th man there, away from home, against Brighton, you don't think Natalie be at the foot there, banging on the boards, absolutely screaming at them, to keep their heads up, to get going again. I think that's been a big miss for footballers. You look at the men's game as well, it looks so lethargic at times. Like, they have the crowd there. You know that they won't be able to get away with being lethargic like that on a football pitch. They have to give it their all. They have to go in and give some sort of a bigger effort than what they've been given. It's different things, really, though, isn't it? I mean, I think Natalie touched upon the coaching as well. I mean, we're Manchester United. Why have we not got the best in class in coaches? Helping Casey Stoney at times as well. I think, we had it at the start. Willie Kirk, all right, he naffed us off Everton, but, and that's the main thing with the women's game. I think the problem is you bring in a coach from the women's game, as soon as there's a job opportunity, that they're usually gone, But why we've got maybe up and coming coaches, people that have maybe retired from the game. Why are we not got them on the sidelines, giving them a go? Just different ideas to refresh. Sir Alex Ferguson was the best in the world at doing this, bringing in coaches from different areas. Your Brian Kidds, your Mike Phelans, your Carlos Queiroses, your Rennie Mullersteins. Everything, people that bring in different ideas at different times and change the way that Manchester United play, evolve the way we play. And I think that's what we've got to look at that as well to help Casey a little bit. Because remember, Casey herself's only less than three seasons into her managerial career. I just think I just feel like everybody else a bit deflated, a bit disappointed. I just think we could do so much more, just to lift people's spirits. But people are saying, I think Vicky's saying now, COVID football is so boring now, just lacks the passion. I think it does in a way. I love the game of football. I'd do anything to be at Old Trafford or to be at LSV or to be at away games. I'd do anything, mate. I'd walk on hot coal if I can. If that means I'd go into that stadium to support our players. But as COVID maybe mentally drained the players as well as mentally drained us, because I know it's mentally drained me. I miss the football. I miss that release at the end of the week. You had a hard working week, or if it's midweek, it's just breaking up your working week, just to let out a bit of, not frustration or anger, but just to let out a bit of passion, because football for me just makes me feel happy. I'm in a happy place. Old Trafford, LSV, away from home, away games especially, because that'll tell you the atmospheres are, and as everybody knows, the atmospheres are absolutely rocking it away. You cannot beat away days, and the bus journeys up. I miss driving the bus, man. I miss having Craney next to me playing the cheesy 90s music and everyone taking the piss out of us on the other bus. I just miss things like that. I just miss the interaction. I just miss having a laugh. I just miss everything that, football's not just about the game in the days of fun. It's about the whole experience, the whole day. Waking up at stupid o'clock in the morning to get down to Brighton for 11 o'clock kickoff, for argument's sake. I miss them sort of things. And I just can't wait till it's back, mate. I really can't. And I'm going to stop blabbing on and let someone else speak.
There's a couple of things that you did say there, though. And one was the coaching staff. I know we're going back onto football, so I don't want to harp on about this, but this is something that not many people have mentioned. We've spoken about leadership. We spoke about, Casey getting the blame. We spoke about players, strength in depth, but not many people have mentioned Casey's support in all this, her coaching staff. So I think that might be worth a show a bit later on down the line. I want to bring Amber in. Obviously, you can see the question on screen, Amber, about do you think that we're better than last year? But also, just tell me a little bit about how you're feeling now. Obviously, you followed the women's team from the start. Just what are your thoughts at the moment? What's going through your head?
It's difficult to put it into words, because before Christmas, I think we all were kind of partying, thinking the impossible was going to happen. And then after Christmas, you kind of get excited for the game. Then you get disappointed you've lost. And then 2 days later, you're buzzing again because it's on weekend. So it's kind of like an up and down roller coaster. You take the good, you take the bad. So I'm not too bothered. I have Charlie and Robin, who are 12 and 8, and they get so excited when they know the women are on weekend. You know, they get me excited. So I don't after the result, but then when I see them too in the United shirts, that kind of brings me up. I'm not as bad as what I used to be when I used to go to season to go for the men's as well. And when I used to go to the men's with my mum, I used to come back raging whenever they lost, like completely raging. And then I used to go with my friend Lucy, and I was perfectly fine after going with her because she calmed me down. So I'm quite right at the moment. As long as I have my little Twitter rants, 10 minutes later, I'm perfectly fine. I can't wait for the weekend.
And to answer the question that was on screen, do you think that we're better than last season?
I think it's hard to compare because last season I think we were fantastic defensively. I think we were one of the hardest teams to break down defensively. Where we didn't get battered. I don't think we got battered in any game that we played. You know, I don't think we got played off the park in any game that we played. And before Christmas, I would say the football we played before Christmas this year better than the football we played the previous year. But the previous year they had the fans behind them. This year they've not got the fans. And so instead of hearing and shouting, banging, going mental, you know, they've got nothing. So they're kind of walking off. And when we go down, there's no picked up. I don't think they've come back from a goal down with Chelsea. And then the 2-2 against City. I don't think they've got it in them to come back at the moment. But the football, when everyone is fit and ready, was better than the football of last season. I personally think. But at the moment, it's poor at the moment. I'd say pre-Christmas is better than last year. Post-Christmas, last year was better.
Yeah, I'll jump on that and just say absolutely. With Galton and Heath both in the team, I think it was very exciting. Amber, you mentioned Twitter. Matt, you're quite active on Twitter. I know you're having a bit of a move around, so I'll keep talking.
Put my lights on.
No, that's okay. Yeah, Matt, I basically just wanted to kind of hear your views on how you're feeling about what you read on social media at the moment. That could be absolutely anything, but regarding Twitter, because I'm on Twitter, not Instagram, so I don't really see what's on Instagram. But what are your thoughts on just what you're reading on Twitter? How does that make you feel, whether it be positive stuff or negative stuff? You know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think for me, Twitter's one of them ones I've had to learn not to get sort of sucked into daft arguments. I think, you know, some of my downfall, obviously not this season, but previous seasons, I've maybe, I don't know what's the thing, like it got myself caught up in things that, you know, really, I probably should have just left. But I'm one of them ones where, like, you know, if I see something or I feel something, I'll say it. And I think sometimes on Twitter, it's like you do read a lot of crap, and there is a lot of idiots with a voice that will hide behind a keyboard and don't have a clue what they're going on about. So, I mean, in terms of Twitter, yeah, you know, there's been some great stuff that I've read. I love sort of getting into conversation, decent discussions, you know, with people, whether it's United or whether it's anybody else. You know, I genuinely don't mind, you know, chatting football. So just absolutely love it. And, you know, it's one of them where, you know, the people that I chat to on a regular, you know, they can sort of respect my opinion. I can respect theirs. And, you know, we might not always agree. But then sometimes you see somebody and they'll just come for you and you think, my days, like, just have a day off. Do you know what I mean? So I think in terms of that, and I think especially this year with having sort of not being able to get to any games at all, it's like you kind of have to, you know, learn to appreciate when we're at matches when we get back. So I think for me, it's kind of like, you know, just forget what's typed out now sort of on social media. You know, like I say, sort of chatting and knowing like one or two of the players. It's difficult for me sometimes reading things about certain players or a certain player, should I say. But yeah, it's kind of one of them, you know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth. It's there for opinions. I think for me, the opinions is never the issue. It's the abuse and the relentless abuse. And I know obviously we've done a previous show on this, haven't we? Such was like our thoughts on that. But I think, yeah, it's one of them, you know, nothing surprises me these days on social media. I don't, you know, sort of log on to Twitter and think, oh God, you know, how how weird's that? You know what I mean? It's one of them ones now where you log on, you kind of expect something or someone to kind of say something that may not be wise. But yeah, I think that's the biggest learning thing for me now, is just to kind of chill out and maybe not quite go on like a mad one, so to speak. I think, you know, it's not worth my time anymore. And I'm sure, you know, other people on here probably had similar experience, you know, where you could literally spend all day arguing with someone or whatever, you know, and it's just like, I can't be bothered now. Done it at the start of the season with the Arsenal fans, and then I knocked it off. I just thought, you know what, got better things to do.
Yeah.
No.
Go on, Nat. I just wanted to finish with you.
I'm totally on that point. Like,
That gets
I see
more
a
than
lot of
me.
people now, just the last, not even a question, I suppose. And if I want to say something as well, now what I'm doing, if I just want the people who I want to say it to, so like Tooney and Millie made it, I just said thank you, but I just took it off that no one could reply to it. I don't care what you think of this or what you think of that. Only they can reply, because I just don't want. I just want to say my one thing, you know? And I feel like in the ground, we could say our thing. We could say our piece. You know what Amber's saying, you know, potential.
Let's see if I can bring that back in. But yeah, just for me, just on my side, on the social media side, I do thoroughly agree. I've said before that I do think that you need to sometimes hold your tongue a little bit, or else it'll spiral. But yeah, sometimes it is just a bit. It is a little bit hard to read those comments, isn't it? When people start abusing, and to me, it's not even about. It is about the abuse on one subject, but another part is I've got no problem with other people having a different opinion than myself. Everyone's got their own opinions, but then you sometimes think to yourself, well, do you even know what you're on about? Because sometimes they just haven't got a clue, have they? Some of the comments, it's very, very basic. Yeah, carry on that.
No, sorry, it just kicked me out then. I didn't even do anything. But no, like I said, sort of, you know, when you're there, when you're pushing them on, shouting at them, shoot, you know, all that kind of thing, you can say to them, you know, well done for making the England team, well done this, and you're not going to get then someone saying, well, they didn't deserve it, well this, well that, you know, you're just going to say what you think. And I think it's probably harder for them that they can't hear our voices telling them what we think, and, you know, it's sort of, they're having to go on social media to see what, like, you know, channels like this and all that kind of thing. But to go on to social media, then you get and see it all. You know, you can't filter it in. Well, you can, but you know what I'm saying? You have to take it all kind of aspects. Whereas I think just when fans were in, they just knew these guys are going to be here week in, week out, supporting us no matter what. You know, yeah, they'll be upset when they lose, but, you know, they'll still be there next week supporting us. And I'm not saying that other teams don't have it, but maybe not as much as we have it. So obviously, as I think it has really affected us, because some of these girls never played without us. You know, LJ, first professional contract, a lot of the first professional contracts have been with us, and, you know, it just must be horrible for them. It's horrible for me, like what Ben says. I'm used to it being an outlet, used to, you know, finishing work. That would be what you would look forward to. So it not being there is really difficult, but it's difficult for everyone, isn't it, during this time?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, Nat, do you just want to touch on that just a little bit further before we talk a little bit about the FA Cup and a little bit about what Matt saw on the weekend? Just just about yourself in general.
Yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? It's rubbish, and for me, I think I'm not the kind of person who struggles with mental health ever, really. But I knew what depression meant through just having these lockdowns. Because I'm a person, anyone who sees me in a game, even if you see me in a men's game or a women's game, I'm out there, I'm at the front, and like everyone's saying, I'm that kind of person who's always socialising, whether it's football or something different, or in a club. I'm the first one on the dance floor, I'm the first one starting a chant, and that doesn't mean I'm doing it because I'm trying to put myself or make myself something. No, I'm doing it because that's the kind of person I am, and I love. That's what I've thought about. I love, and I miss Amber's niece and nephew. I miss Anthony's kids. I miss Mark and Deb's niece and nephew. I miss, you know, all these kind of young people, and then all you guys that I usually see, and I feel like I can handle social media better when I'm with real people as well. And I feel like these lockdowns. I mean, this is finally, hopefully, over. I mean, I hope no one wants to get upset with me, but I won't be on next week because it's the first day back in the pubs, and hopefully this is it. This is it. It's over. So I need my own remedy. I need to get out. I need to see real people. No offense, guys. I love all of our followers. I love talking about the women's team, but I need to see real people.
Yeah.
So hopefully, God forbid.
There's only one issue with that, Nat, is that John's going to be doing it on his own then next week.
Sorry.
Just
I'm so
John
sorry,
sat
John.
here discussing United with himself.
I'm so sorry. But I need to see real people, and hopefully this is it now. In England, anyway. I mean, I'm not sure what it's like for you, Huda. I know other places are struggling as well. I don't know what it's like in America, but in England, this is the end of it. Obviously, it's never going to go away, probably, and we're always probably going to have to get jabs or whatever. Okay, but this is the end of the lockdowns. I hope. If it's not, I don't know. Because it's been a nightmare for me this last year. Nightmare.
You mentioned about not being on the show next week, but there will be a point where all us lot can, well, maybe not Yehuda. Well, yeah, actually speaking to Yehuda before we came on the show, there is a possibility that we could all get together in person and do these shows in person. And I can't wait for the comments to see that as well, because it'll be a completely different type of show, isn't it? We haven't got too long left. I just want to bring Yehuda in to talk a little bit about the FA Cup and then yourself, Matt. So, I mean, the season's practically over in my eyes now regarding the league. I think we still need to win our remaining 3 games. I think that's really important for us. How important do you think the FA Cup is now for us, just to kind of finish the season on a high?
Well, I think it's mostly can help the players get the belief back that they can play and that they can do well. Always cup competition, it's an opportunity either to get out from a crisis or to give opportunities to younger players. And I think maybe the feeling now, maybe because it hasn't started yet, the feeling, I think it's not something that I think people are looking forward to. But maybe when it gets started, when we feel that maybe there's an opportunity to get something, maybe the excitement will come. And anyway, it's a little bit weird that the FA Cup starts at this stage of the season, so nobody knows how to feel about it. But it can be a good opportunity for the players to show what they can do again, to get the confidence back. Towards the next season. Also, the last games in the league and the FA Cup games could make a difference in how the players will start next season. So, as the cliche says, we will take it one game at a time and see how it goes, and see if we can, if the players are excited about this, or just waiting for the season to finish. But I think it will be a good opportunity, and maybe it's just something extra to get excited about, because we don't want this season to end with a feeling of disappointment. Although I think there is really no reason to feel too disappointed, because we're still maybe in a much better place than we thought before the season started. I think it's just because how the season panned out, that we started so good and finished so bad. If it was the other way around, or if the defeats were, one here and there through the season, so maybe the feeling was different. But yeah, just to sum everything up, we need to finish the season with a bit of perspective, a bit of positivity. And yes, if the players, can shake off what happens in the league, and play in the FA Cup like it's just a brand new tournament, brand new season, brand new state of mind. So we can all finish this season with a smile, I hope.
Yeah, absolutely, Yehudi. Yeah, I think there's a question about who we're playing, but I think Karen's already answered that one. Thank you, Karen. There was a little bit of good news for former United player over the weekend. I'm going to bring Matt in now just to discuss the game that he was fortunate enough to go to, and obviously explain why we're actually talking about this specific game. Obviously, some of the hardcore United fans who've been around for 3 years will know this player. But Matt, just bring it in. Where did you go on Sunday, and tell us what you thought and who you saw?
Yeah, so yesterday I was down at Leicester to catch up, obviously, with Charlie Devlin, who, like you said, played for us in the first season. And yeah, it was just, again, just a sort of one covering ex-player and, expand on what we are going to do in terms of our YouTube channel, try and cover like loan players and ex-players. So I was down there. They needed to get a win to get promotion and to become champions. They did that eventually in the second half. She did miss a penalty, which I gave her a little bit of stick for, but no, it was all good. It was all part of the fun, and it's a credit to what's going on down there and the way it's run, the way everything's done. And yeah, very fortunate. We had some good feedback regarding this channel, regarding the topics we do, regarding sort of the honesty we give and the insight. And yeah, it's just it was a good day yesterday. Like I say, it was good to catch up with and see former players. And yeah, just pleasing, really. Like I say, it's the main thing for me was obviously the feedback we had for the channel, because there's a lot of people sort of do things like this, and there's a lot of, like we touched on before, opinions on Twitter. But I think to actually get feedback from sort of officials and coaching staff and players of other clubs, is yeah, it was good. So that was my little adventure yesterday, down to cover that game and sort of like I said, catch up with Charlie and sort of see how they're doing on the whole and how she's been really.
And we'll see a lot more of them next season. Being promoted again, Charlie Devlin, two championship medals now. So yeah, let's look forward to next season and seeing some of our old players, because it's always nice to see when they leave on good terms, isn't it? Plan for the rest of the week then, Matt. I'll stick with yourself because you always seem to remember more than me. What are the shows for people to be watching out for this week?
Yeah, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Is me, Gareth Anthony, and yourself. Tomorrow we're sort of discussing. Obviously, there's been news today about Birmingham and sort of how bad it's run. So yeah, obviously it's not a Birmingham show. It's more of how can teams that are coming up into the league or that are in the sort of the bottom half of the table sort of sustain and keep going. The challenges they face in terms of competing. Things like that. So that's obviously tomorrow 8 p.m. Twitter Live. Thursday, 7:30, we have an American guest to just sort of get thoughts on Man United women, obviously the two Americans as well. And yeah, it'll be a great football chat, 'cause I don't think we've ever had an American guest on before, from what I can remember. And then Saturday, myself and Ben are back 8 p.m. again. We're hoping to have a guest this week, so fingers crossed. We are trying. It's just Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Some people tend to be on them, so we'll see. But yeah, busy week. Yeah, busy week again. But again, absolutely love what we do. We love to bring content for everybody. So yeah, tune in.
Thank you very much for that, Matt. Yehuda, if anybody wants to get hold of you on Twitter, how can they find you?
Yeah, I should have put it on my name here. It's at JUDA2121. It's actually 21 because of Diego Forlan.
Okay.
just at the time, it was the first thing I thought of. It was when he was playing. It was I started my Gmail. So I thought, okay, Diego Forlan, let's do it twice. And that's how it came about. Just a small anecdote. Yeah.
We can see everybody else on screen. Natalie _17 as well. Thank you to everybody in the comments. There's so many now that unfortunately I don't even try and keep up with everybody because it's hard to read the comments and to listen to the guys on screen. But it's really good to see. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining in and sharing the content and retweeting it. We do really appreciate it. When the six of us on screen, we don't always get a chance to speak as often because there's another 2 people on screen. So thank you to Amber for coming on. And keep your eye for Amber's preview videos. They're always on the Twitter account, the WFC Twitter account, and they are really exciting and fun to watch. So thank you, Amber, for continuing to play a big part of that Twitter account. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and we will see you again tomorrow night on Match Show at 8 o'clock. See you guys.
Bye bye.